Hi there everyone, my name is Adam Morton, and thank you for checking out my channel. Today, I am excited to talk to you about adaptive music in video games, and what exactly that means, and how I, as a composer, am starting to implement that in my own projects. Adaptive music is really cool because it's not just a simple loop of music, but it is music that will change based on how the player interacts with the game. So if a player is taking a long time to complete a puzzle, or they're taking a long time to determine what their next action is going to be, or they're just enjoying the view, we don't want to change the music on them if they haven't done anything new yet. We want to keep them in that exploration, that ambient music, until maybe a combat encounter occurs, in which case we can then change the music based on their actions. So what we can do as composers is prepare different chunks of music. So here I have in my session, I have intro music, I have a loop A, a loop B, loop C. I have very different sections of music that I'm going to put together into Wwise, which is a software designed to help facilitate musical changes for video games based on player actions. And I'll demonstrate some of the first few steps I've taken into turning this project into a fully usable interactive music system for a video game. So let's take a listen and hear how it sounds on its own. So that's the intro and loop A. I skipped over the little transition section, but we will hear that in the Wwise project. So if we move over to Wwise, I can show you that I have set up combat audio with combat begin, combat engage, and a switch system to change between our begin combat and our engage combat tracks. So I won't dive too far into how to set this up like a tutorial. There's a lot of great content already out there on how to build out these interactive music systems in Wwise. I'm simply going to demonstrate what I've done so far and hopefully be able to show you a bit more down the road as to how I implemented it and even create some of my own tutorials. But for now, I'm just excited to show you some of the features that Wwise can offer to make music much more immersive for your video game. So if we were to start our combat music simply with our begin state, we'll hear that intro section and it will loop endlessly. So let's take a listen. So that's lasting a lot longer than the Reaper session where it was only about 10 seconds long. And if you noticed, this was only the first half of that intro section that was looping. I've set up an RTPC, which basically is a way for the game to inform Wwise about events occurring that can affect how the music sounds. So I've set up an enemy proximity that will increase the intensity of this intro music before combat even begins. So let's take a listen to how that changes as I change the enemy proximity RTPC. So it's a bit of a subtle difference, but you can hear the brass instruments are a bit more intense. There's actually a higher woodwind instrument joining in there, and the percussion is a bit louder as well. All of this to increase the intensity as enemies are closing in on the character, or as the player is approaching an enemy preparing for combat. Now we will hear what happens when we change from the combat begin state to the combat engage state. and that will now loop endlessly as long as we are still in this combat engage state. So the player actions will determine which state we are in. If we are engaging with enemies or if we're still in the begin state, that is controlled by the player. Another RTPC I put in was a player health, and this is just another really cool feature where we can have the music reflect a bit more of what the player's status is. So if we were to be continuing in our engage combat, listen to what happens as I lower the player health. So as you heard, we put a low pass filter on there as the level of the player's health decreases to kind of simulate that real frantic feeling of, oh no, I'm about to die. So the music fades out, we lose all those high-end frequencies, and it can be a cool indicator to the player that you are losing health, you need to heal up. And as the player's health returns to 100%, all those frequencies come back and the music is back in its full effect. So that was just a very simple look at what's possible in Wwise using this middleware to control the music for a video game. I really hope you enjoyed it and you might have learned something new or got some ideas for how you might be able to implement music in your video game. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. I will be sharing more of my musical journey into adaptive music, and will eventually be sharing these files for free for you to use in your own video game or just experiment with and see what's possible. So thanks again and have a great day.